Hi everyone, I'm Rodrigo from DJ Tech Zone and welcome to my full review of the SC5000 Prime DenonDJ media player. That was built, designed and created to actually compete with the ruling class, the Pioneer DJ CDJ. I will also be reviewing the X1800 Prime mixer from DenonDJ, which is paired up. It's a unit, it's a combo actually, and if you're considering to buy one, you probably should consider to buy the other as well, because they work together very well. What I wanted to do for you, my subscribers, is to give you my opinion on this gear and not necessarily drill down in every little detail and every little feature. So let me get the air cleared. I really love this setup. I think it's an ultra professional setup. Both cost less than 2,000 euro a piece. The SC5000 player, although it's very light, it's very sturdy build, so there is a lot of plastic in the construction, but that's also the case with the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2, so nothing new here. The mixer is one piece of metal. It's very heavy, it's very chunky, and it's built like a tank. This mixer is built for a very demanding club environment, so it's gonna stand the test of time, that's for sure. So if you want to buy a professional mixer, or you're considering for your club or for your mobile DJ company, a sturdy 4-channel club mixer, this is a really good choice. We're going to dive into more details later, but we're going to start with the player. The player is familiar. If you're used to CDJs, you will not be surprised by the layout, as stated so many times. The core thing about this player is the screen. The screen is truly fantastic. It is a high resolution touch screen, multi-touch screen, thanks to the multi-core system. So there's a multi-core processor in this unit, so it can handle a lot of things at the same time. It can analyze tracks on the fly. It actually has DenonDJ engine, the engine software running inside of it. So it's actually a computer. Well, CDJ 2000 Nexus 2 is also a computer, of course. It also has a processor and stuff, but this is a more powerful computer. So you can do really cool gestures on this unit, on the SC5000, like for example pinch to increase or decrease the size of the waveform. So it's really handy. You don't have to use the rotary knob, you can just do it with your hands. The screen has basically two main sections, the album selection section and the track section. And the album selection, or the library browse section, is cool because it really feels like using a tablet, and you can actually load tracks by simply swiping left, and if you actually swipe right, you send the track to the preparation list, and it just sits in the preparation list until you use it. That's pretty cool. Apart from that, one very interesting thing is the layer feature, and since I'm doing one review for the two, I'm going to jump over to the mixer now. The layer feature works pretty well. It means that you can play two tracks at the same time when you are DJing and you have only one player, let's say, or you have two players and you want to use 4 decks. By switching layers, you are actually switching virtual decks within the media player. That's pretty cool. I'm sure you've heard about this. It's one of the standout features of the SC5000. And if I'm in a second layer, I can actually load another track up. And I have two tracks loaded on different layers. And what is really special is that on the X1800, I have color coding. If I'm plugged in through the Ethernet cable, so I'm using the link to connect both players, and that's recommended to do so because of what I'm going to tell you right now, is that you have this color coding feature. So if I have a playing deck, if I put a you can see actually that the Q button is blue, and it coincides with the color of the LED around the jog wheel, as you can see. And if I switch to the other layer, which is green, the LED around the jog wheel for that layer will turn the same color as the cue button. So it's really easy to see what you're queuing up. So that's really fantastic. It's a great thing to have those little things working together and playing together to form one complete system. So apart from having the color coding on the cue buttons and on the jog wheels and on the layer button, you also have very precise BPM detection through the link cable. You can see the BPM of my first track on the mixer itself is detected as 122.7, and on the SC5000 it's the same BPM. So that means that my effects are going to be really, really precise. Precise effects, and all those are the advantages of the link that you only have when you have an SC5000 and an X1800 next to each other connected with the link cable. Also, you have channel fader and X fader start activated when you're working through the link, which is also pretty cool. So back to the deck, we're going to go back to the mixer a bit later. Back to the deck. So I talked about the screen. The jog wheel is fantastic, and one of the specific or the standout features of the jog wheel is that cool LCD screen in the middle that can show you a lot of things. It can show you the artwork, as you can see, which is again easy to recognize, especially when you're using layers, which layer you're manipulating with the physical controls of the deck. You can also show artwork. You can put up your own artwork, your DJ artwork on the screen and display it. If you're playing a gig where you're being filmed, it's cool to have your artwork. Also, it shows you the loop size that you have set, which is also pretty nice, pretty neat, because it gives you visual feedback on so many levels. So you're playing, you have a loop, you see it in your waveform, and you see it on the screen. That's great. So that's a jog wheel. The jog wheel is not mechanical, so it's touch capacitive. You don't have that click when you touch it. So you have to get used to that if you're coming from CDJs that you have a touch capacitive jog wheel. You also have the adjustment for your tension of your jog wheel, your stop and start time, which is nice, and also a slip button. And a slip button, what does it do? It allows you to manipulate the track while it keeps playing underneath. And the SC5000 is a pretty cool thing on the screen, and that's again the multi-core processor that allows to do that. You see that when I have the slip button on, you can see visually on your waveform that the track actually continues to play, but your slip button is engaged. And again, that's visual feedback that's really handy to have, so you know what's going on and you don't forget that your slip button is on, because that has a consequence on some other controls when you're playing. Of course, you also have those cool performance buttons on the SC5000, which give you a series of performance options that are very similar to what you have when you're using Serato DJ, hot cue loop, roll and slicer. But again, what is cool if you use them, you have that visual feedback on your waveform again. That's pretty nice to have. You have the beat jump as main function for your search and navigation buttons, which is pretty nice. You jump up and down some beats. You have a very, very decent pitch fader with a center LED indication knob. I also particularly like the loop encoder, which is pretty nice to have. I prefer that to the traditional buttons, which you also have here, actually traditional in and out loop buttons, but you can also use the encoder, which is my preference, with all the visual feedback. And to finish off the top plate of the SC5000, you also have an utility menu that allows you to adapt your preferences, which are actually the same as in Engine, the DenonDJ preparation software that you can also set here. So they all are synced through the memory stick. You have a device settings utility, and that's pretty much a very quick tour of the top plate of the SC5000. I told you I was going to try to keep it quick, and I'm keeping that promise. Underneath, on the front where the CD player used to be, you have an SD card entry port, and you have also a USB port that allows you to plug in your memory stick. If you go to the back of the SC5000, we see that we have one RCA output per layer, so we can connect the two layers to the different channels, to the separate channels of the mixer, as I've already demonstrated. And you also have two digital outputs, one for every layer. Furthermore, you have extra USB ports, two extra USB ports that you can use to connect additional media to your player. You have the link Ethernet connection to connect multiple players with with each other and with an XE1800 mixer. And you have the power output. And what is cool about the power, there is a feature that keeps the player going for a few seconds, and if you're quick enough, the player will just continue to work as normal. Now let's move over to the mixer. The X1800 mixer is a 4-channel club mixer. The mixer is pretty large. It's pretty deep. It's a deep mixer. It's a bit bigger than the player. And the reason why it's a very deep mixer is that you have actually 2 rows of knobs, where normally on the CDJ mixers or on other mixers you have 1 row. One controls what Denon calls the sweep effects. And the other controls the filter. Which means that you can use them together. Your filter is not one of your effects, it's a separate effect, and you can combine them. And there are 2 things. I like the fact that it's a very good thing to differentiate from the competition that they have created 2 separated row of buttons. And secondly, the quality of those effects is really high. I love the filter, how it sounds. And I really love the dub echo. Very handy effect. I really love how it sounds. But that's not all when it comes to effects. The X1800 also has a full-fledged beat FX section, if you want, that you can select with this little button. And when you're connected through Ethernet, the BPM synchronization is spot on. If you don't have the SC5000, you have another media player or a turntable, the BPM will not be read out from the player. It will be listened to, and it will be less accurate, but you can also always adapt that manually if you want with the tab button. So the effects on the FX section are also really good. And as you can see, you have this cool touch strip that allows you to navigate through the different beats assigned to an effect. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. You might want to practice enough to get that right, because before you know it, you're touching something else. So I don't know if I prefer this or the X-Pod from Pioneer, but well, this is nice. It's a nice way to do it, and you also have a feature that allows you to. You have the instant effect, so you can just apply just a little nudge of effect when you touch the touch strip. What I also like, and you can also find it in the Pioneers, is the FX frequency, so that you can decide if you apply the effect to the low or the high frequency, for example. Pretty nice. All that allows you to play around and to adapt the sound the way you desire. Of course, you can alter the channel on which the effect is applied, and you can, of course, I already said, select the effect that you desire. I'm not going to take you through all these effects. Denon has very good videos that explain how all those different effects work. And you have actually two screens, one for the effects and one for the details of that effect, which is really clear, and they're really easy to use and really clear. The utility menu takes you really deep into the configuration of the mixer, and it allows you to adapt different things like the type of EQ, how your filter sounds, the resonance of your filter, a lot of stuff, how your microphone inputs should behave, a lot of stuff, and what you expect on an advanced club mixer, of course, but it's hidden behind the menu, so if you don't want to use it, you don't need to use it. You have two USB ports for connection to a computer. Note that this mixer is Serato DJ Pro certified, so you can use it with DVS and with Serato DJ Pro, with turntables. If you have that set up and you want to use the X1800 with that, that will be no problem. Each channel has, of course, a full band EQ, and again, you can switch or change the EQ settings within the utility menu. You have a full band EQ, you have, as I already said, the filters and the sweep effects controls. You have the Q buttons that, if connected to the SC5000 through the link cable, you will have that color coding that is really handy when you're using the layers on the SC5000. And you also have, of course, your faders that are very loose. And as you can see, I have channel fader start on, so my track starts. The crossfader itself is replaceable, it's a flex fader. I think it's a recommendable crossfader, and it will be very handy for anyone doing even scratches or more advanced beat juggling and tricks on it. On the left side, and finally, we have a very advanced microphone section with selection for which microphone you are controlling, with a separate level, with a talk over button, and with a high and low frequency for the microphone. You can also apply effects to your microphone if you wish to, which is very nice for mobile or even club DJs, depending on what you're doing. You have two microphone inputs, one on the top plate and one on the back. I mean, that's kind of a very quick rundown of the X1800. For me, an excellent mixer, cheaper than a DJM900 Nexus 2, but not less well equipped. The sound is great, vibrant and potent and punchy. Let's look at the back of the mixer to see what we have there. So on the back, the mixer is very well equipped. You have your XLR master out, you have two RCA outs, one normal and one for recording purposes. You have the FX send and return, so if you want to connect your external FX units, you can do that with the X1800. You have TRS booth out, and then of course you have also the digital output and the digital input that you can use to connect the SC5000 or other media players that have digital outs digitally to the mixer for better sound quality. Besides that, you have the four line inputs, phono and line each time that you can connect to the X1800. And then to finish off, you have also an Ethernet hub built in into the X1800. You can connect up to 4 players directly to the back of the X1800 to have full link functionality over 4 players with a total of 8 virtual decks. Can you imagine that? If you can manage 8 virtual decks, you are probably a very good DJ. In the end, it was a bit long because I had to go through 2 pieces of gear at the same time, but I think it's worth it to see them as a pack, and that's the way I see it. The X1800 and the SC5000 are a combo, and if you're planning to use one, you probably should consider using the other as well. I think it's a sound investment if you are a professional DJ, if you want to carry around your gear to your gigs, or you need to carry around your gear to your gigs. If you're a serious mobile DJ, or you have a venue and you want to install some new gear, I certainly would consider this. On the software side, just to say a few words about that, I already said Serato DJ compatible. Both are Serato DJ Pro compatible. You can use the SC5000 connected to Serato DJ Pro and it will work as a controller in hit mode. You can use all the functions of Serato DJ. You can use the performance pads and so forth. It feels like a controller when connected to Serato DJ. That's really cool. You can also pop in Rekordbox prepared USB sticks into the SC5000 and it will recognize the music and the cue points and all that stuff. So if you are a pioneer DJ and you want to try out the SC5000s or you are confronted with them in a club and you have only Rekordbox USB sticks, no panic, you will be able to use them. You will not have all the same features as if you prepared your tracks in DenonDJ Prime, but it will work. And then finally, but not least, DenonDJ Prime is the preparation software that you need to use to prepare your music for the player. And that's a decent piece of software. It's not perfect, in my opinion. It needs more evolution and it needs more improvements. And it's no match for Rekordbox at the moment. But Denon is doing a good job of catching up, creating a really sound ecosystem with Engine Prime, with the SC5000 and with the X1800 and of course the VO12 turntable that we might discuss or review in the future. So for me, a revolution, it's not. It's very similar to what already exists from Pioneer DJ, but it has a twist, it has improvements, it has its own specificity, and Denon has done magnificent work in creating this player and this mixer, and I wish them all the success, because I think for us DJs, competition is key. We need to have big companies competing with each other to make the best possible gear so we can profit for them with better gear and also, of course, better prices. I'm Rodrigo from DJ Tech Zone. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you are another subscriber and you like my content, please consider subscribing and hitting the subscription bell so that you get notified when I put up new videos. Don't be afraid to comment. I don't get always back to people with in the comment section, but I try to read them all and I try to get back when it makes sense to do so. I hope to see you back in a future video and I hope to see you back on the channel soon. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.